We're based up in East Norwich, and we are presenting for 8 weeks a series of marketing and advertising webinars for small business owners and prospective owners. And this evening's topic is online advertising. And I am going to share my screen so that you can see what I've presented for you tonight. We have the chat box at the bottom. If you like, you can place your questions in there. At the end of the presentation, we'll do any questions that you have, and either you can put them in the chat box or you can take yourself off of mute at that point and feel free to just ask your questions. So here we go. And let me just pull this over and start the slideshow. Okay, so as I noted, tonight's topic is advertising online, all the basics you will need for digital advertising for your business. So online advertising, when you think about what it is, it's known by several names: online marketing, internet advertising, digital advertising, web advertising. Whatever term you have heard it under, what it is a form of advertising and sometimes marketing that uses the internet to deliver promotional paid messages from your business to the consumers you are trying to reach. So the best way to get some traction and really see results from online advertising, particularly within the digital marketplace, is to have a plan. It needs to be part of your overall marketing plan. Otherwise, you're going to have random ads, and you may have success, you may not, but regardless, you will likely not have the kind of success that you would is if you were undertaking this effort in a really planful way. So let's talk about some types of online advertising, because there are several of them, and you can consider any or all of them as part of your plan. So you have display ads. Those include web banner ads. They include pop-ups, traditional banners, which are called frame ads, expanding ads, which when you click on them, they drop down and they get larger. News feed ads, which as you're reading the news and you see little ads in there, they almost look like another news article, but it's actually advertising. And up in the very corner, it will usually say ad. Floating ads, trick banners, and text ads. And we can talk a little about what each of these are. So web banner ads, to start with, they are usually graphic ads, very heavy on visual, not so much on words. They're displayed within a web page, and many of them are delivered by a central advertising server. They use rich media to incorporate video, audio, animation. They can have buttons, forms, or other interactive elements using the underlying writing so that whoever you're deploying your advertising with will put it in the appropriate HTML or Java format or Adobe, whichever one the program is using. Pop-ups, that's very simple. Those are ads that as you're reading something or watching something, an ad pops up right in the center, and you can click on it and get more information, or you can X out of it and it will go away. Frame ads, like I said, those are traditional banners. They tend to be at the very top, very bottom, or along the side of the website page. And they are firmer ads. They stay in place unless you actually close them out. Next, we have expanding ads. So like I said, that's an ad that will change its size. As it sits there, sometimes it's by time. After 5 seconds of the screen staying stationary, they know you're not closing out of it. The ad will actually enlarge, and more information will follow, whether that's visual or words or a combination of the two. Newsfeed ads, like I said, those are ads that look like a news article, and you'll see them on CNN or Fox or whatever news channel you're watching. You have the different stories you can click into. It actually looks like a story. Then we have floating ads, or actually let's do our, well, we could do floating ads. It's an overlay ad. So it's a type of advertisement that is superimposed over what you're reading. So you might be reading an article and a floating ad is actually placed on top of it. They may disappear or become less obtrusive after a preset period of time. So after 5 seconds or 10 seconds and you haven't clicked into it, now it starts to dissipate and float away. Trick banners. People often don't know what a trick banner is. And that is where the copy for the ad can often imitate certain elements on the screen that a user will typically see when they go to a particular site. So it might be like an operating system message or a message from a popular application like Microsoft or something like that. And it's sort of enticing you to click it and you think it's something familiar, but it's actually an ad. So that's why it's called a trick banner, because it is tricking you into actually clicking into its content. They typically don't mention the advertiser in the initial click. So it's not until you bounce into their content that you now know who is sending that particular piece of content your way. Okay, so some other delivery methods other than the banners, you have search engine marketing. That can be search engine optimization, which is your organic way of being found. So if your website and your social media are generating enough content that Google can find you, because Google is the largest search engine that is out there right now, you will organically come up higher in the search results. But above any of those organics, it's sponsored searches. So when you Google anything right now, at the very top in your results, you are going to find a few sponsored searches, whether that is looking for travel, it's looking for a local pet shop, it's looking for anything. You're going to get sponsored search at the very top, and then you get the organic search. Ideally, in your search engine optimization, you're going to come in the top page, or at the very least on the second page. Ideally, you do want to be on that front page, because that's going to give you much more traction in terms of the people who are searching. And then at the very, very tippy top, that's going to be your sponsored ads, and that's going to be a sponsored search. So you have social media marketing. Those are ads that are floating through on your feed on any of the platforms. So that can be on Twitter, on LinkedIn, on Facebook, TikTok, any of the ads, any of the platforms rather, you can have advertising on those. You have mobile advertising. So there's two types of mobile advertising. You can have something that is coming up via text or via WhatsApp. You can now get paid to have your business promoted through texting type of apps like those. Or you can have advertising that is strictly, when you think of mobile advertising, it's strictly designed to work with mobile devices. So it can be taken two ways. You have email advertising, where you are sending out sponsored content via email to your house list or to a purchased list that you are permitted to use for a finite window of time or a finite number of uses. You have affiliate marketing, which is working with a partner company that you are collectively approaching. So it's done in tandem with an affiliated firm. And content marketing, which was the theme of a recent class where we talked about reaching those who are your target demographic through the kinds of content you are creating. So whether that is through emails, through social media, through your website, through a blog, through white papers. It's all of your valuable content that you are putting out into the marketplace. So lots of different types of advertising available. And the part of the element of success is selecting where to push out that advertising. And there is no specific answer as to what is better than another. Every industry, every region, every demographic you're trying to reach is going to help you to identify what the best answer is for you. So those are all questions that you need to determine. Who are you trying to reach? Is it a particular community? Is it a particular demographic within communities? What your product or service is that you're trying to sell. If you have a local business selling a local product, yes, you may very well be looking through a geographic area. But if you're selling something that can be easily shipped and can go anywhere, so now you're actually looking more at the type of individual who would have interest in your product or service versus where they're particularly located. Your budget, that's a huge factor, is your budget. And then there are other industry specific factors that each one of you represent a different industry. And so those types of factors are going to come into play. So online ads are available pretty much on every digital platform today. So you need to determine which one is going to help you to get the best bang for your buck, because your return on your investment is a critical piece. If you spend somewhere and have one person respond, well, were you expecting one response? Were you expecting 100? So you have to weigh that and determine how much volume do you normally get into your business that's going to then be converted from prospect to sale. So to decide on the best online advertising platform or platforms for your individual business, consider some of the options. So one of the options is Facebook ads. So Facebook at this point is so pervasive in our society that the company states that 1 out of every 5 minutes is spent on mobile, that is spent either there or at their sister site, Instagram. They purchased Instagram a couple of years back. So roughly 2 billion people are logging into Facebook every month. So are you going to have a lot of sets of eyes seeing your ad if you advertise with them? Very, very likely. So many Facebook users follow and interact with the brands that are on the site. I know that I do. I am absolutely targeted based on my children, based on my pets, based on where I live, based on my shopping habits. So all of those things help to target specifically so that businesses that want me to purchase from them are showing up in my feed. So it can be very hard to get organic traffic on Facebook unless you have folks who are willing to share in front of their audiences, their friends and their followers. So online ads or paid advertising can absolutely help. And paying for ads on their platform will get your business in front of more people, but more importantly, it'll get you in front of the businesses, or rather the prospects that you want for your business. So if you are seeking specifically people in certain geography that are 18 to 30 years old, because that's your key demographic, you're going to find them. If you are looking for people who are pet owners in a certain geographic, you're going to find them through a paid advertisement with Facebook. One of the really nice things about Facebook is that you are also going to set the budget. So if you set your budget, for example, at $250, you're going to get it's not every eye that it's going in front of. It's the eyes that then click on your ad that are going to determine your spend. And when you have spent a certain amount of the money and you only have a certain amount left, Facebook will notify you and say you have $10 left, or the number that you have said you would like as your notification. And it will ask you, do you want to put another $25 in, another $50, another $100? What are you interested in doing? Or cut it off. And you can say, we want to have, let's say, $250 every month or this week. It depends what kind of advertising you're putting there. Maybe it's a special campaign and you want to boost your posts for that particular campaign. So if that campaign ends on the 31st of May, then that's when you're going to stop that boosted post, and they're going to come back to you to see if you want to do more. That's your choice. So promoted posts, like I said, are just like a regular post that if I see Olga's name there, if Olga posted and she and I are friends, she's going to come up in my feed. A boosted post from her business is definitely, if I'm part of that target market, it's going to come up and it's going to look just like one of my friends' posts. But it is more likely to show up in my feed because I'm part of that target market, because I don't see every person I'm friends with. Unfortunately, you get sort of a segment of your friends show up regularly in your feed. Targeted posts are going to reach that market that you're looking for. You also have display ads. They can be inserted into the feed as photos, as videos, and people are much more likely to click on video, and then next is photo. After that is strictly words. So if you have those types of display ads, they're there for people to click into. And then you have IM, which is the Facebook Instant Messenger app. You can now advertise in Facebook on their Instant Messenger app, which is very targeted. And coming soon, Facebook is now testing search ads. So marketers are seeing the option for search among their choices where they want to see their Facebook ads run. So for now, the option is only available to a few because it's being beta tested. But it will be available to you as an option. I would say probably within 6 months to a year, that will become, if they're beta testing it now, they're working out the bugs, that'll become your next option. So you have a number of different choices, even within one particular platform. So let's take an in-depth look. Some pros and cons for Facebook. So Facebook gives a great deal of targeting and market segmentation. So that's taking the whole marketplace and segmenting it into different groups of people and choosing which of them you want your ad to be in front of. So it can be a little difficult to navigate if you don't have those types of technical skills. But like anything, it's a little bit of trial and error. And because it's not expensive initially, you get better at it. You'll be able to use the feature in a way to save a lot of money because you will avoid the unnecessary clicking by people, because ideally you want new people to click in who are going to learn about your business and make the decision to purchase from your business or to connect with you for at least a further conversation. That's more particularly for service providers. They do have a lot of advantages, as we discussed, but there are a handful of downsides, and you should be aware of both the plus and the minus to be able to make a good decision. More people are now competing for paid ad space, and supply and demand. The more people competing for paid ad space, prices are going to go up, and that can make it a little harder for your business's ad to stand out. Because A, you've got more competition, and B, you've paid a little bit more to be in that space. The company has also changed how they handle the ads that use direct invitations for engagement. That means phrases like click here or join now can hurt you if you advertise on Facebook. So there are lots of other platforms to choose from. So let's talk about a few of those. All right, let's start with Instagram. So like I said before, Instagram is owned by Facebook. It is a newer platform. It's a very visual platform. Photos, videos, that's the key to anything on Instagram. You see a lot of retail businesses that will promote on Instagram, a lot of jewelry, a lot of clothing, a lot of shoes, or perhaps those are just what's targeting me. But they have 500,000 users every day. Millennial and Gen Z are absolutely fans of this particular platform. And like I said, it is incredibly visual. So if you have really wonderful photos of your merchandise, it's a great place to advertise it. If you have videos showing unboxing and unveiling of packages of your merchandise, that's a great place. It's a great platform for that. Snapchat is another very popular platform to consider, especially if you are targeting young shoppers. I know that my adolescent kids are by far more on Snapchat than they would ever consider being on Facebook or Instagram. They consider Facebook, for people who are under 25, they consider by and large that Facebook is mom and dad's app. They consider Snapchat their app. So you have three kinds of key advertising on Snapchat. The first one being videos. The second is being a sponsored lens. If you've ever seen the ads on or photos of folks and they have like a little dog or kitty cat nose and whiskers or a crown of flowers that they're wearing, those are all filters, lenses for Snapchat. So you can sponsor a particular lens and then your ad pops up to go with it. It also has geo filters. So those are filters that are more in the background versus the lens, which is going to be something on the individual. So you have both of those, and they are available as a form of advertising in addition to your own videos. And we have Twitter. 500 million tweets a day are still floating through. And actually over COVID, that number has gone up because more people are more active on social media right now because they've been working from home. The top ad methods here are promoted tweets, very much like a promoted post on Facebook, and promoted trends. So that when you go onto Twitter, you will see each day things that are trending. So something interesting in politics, something that's going on in entertainment, things that are the talked about topics. So you can promote a particular trend as part of your advertising. And then, of course, there's Google Ads and Google Display Ads. So Google Ads are online ads that come up, as we discussed earlier, in the search results. And you can target it based on geography, but also on demography. So again, if you are looking for, parents of preschool-age children, if you're looking for owners of pets, if you're looking for people who love travel. So there's all different kinds of things, whether people are buying a product or buying a service that you can carve out, as well as by geography. You might be looking for people who are parents of preschool-age children, but only in Nassau County or only in certain zip codes. So you can really be that targeted with your Google ads. They say that their display ads reach 90% of online users across 2 million websites. That's a pretty good number. The Google ads that I have had clients use are often amongst their personal favorite because of the number of people who search on Google every single day. So for local businesses, this is a tremendous option. So here's a little bit more about Google Display Ads because there is more to say about it. So although people may not realize it, most people have seen Google Display Ads. So like I said before, these ads often appear as banners or small boxes on websites, and they're promoting products or services. Often the ads are related to the items that someone has shopped for online or the content that they've read. So if you have been reading about new furniture or redecorating a room, Wayfair is likely to come up. Local furniture stores are likely to come up. Local home decor stores are likely to come up because it's based on the content that you have read recently. If you were recently shopping for a vacation, that vacation space, whether it's Marriott or Disney or Delta Airlines, they're now likely going to come up as a display ad in your reading. That's being purchased through Google as a display ad. That's separate and apart from the Google search ads, but that is going to be advertising that they're paying for through Google to get right in front of you because you've already been identified now as someone with an interest in that particular product or service. So one advantage of the Google ads is that you're in front of people without paying. So how is that possible? And that's much like Google ads, display ads are pay-per-click. So someone who's web surfing may see your ad and not click on it right away, but they may search for you later. And then they're in your space, which is great, but you're not paying for every eye that sees you as they're searching, as they're reading something, only those that click. And that way it's not costing you a fortune. It is much more targeted, and so it keeps your budget intact. So display ads are amongst the best online advertising choices for remarketing. So targeting tools and remarketing, like I said, you've already looked at something, and I'll give you an example. My family goes to Disney. So I was perusing a particular hotel, did a virtual tour of it. We were talking about dates, so we'll go back in and we'll book it later. For the next 2 weeks, everywhere I went on the internet, that hotel's ad followed me, because they already know that I clicked in, I did a virtual ad. Now they want to make it as easy as possible for me to click back in and make that purchase. So that's called remarketing. If you looked at a pair of shoes on DSW, it's going to show up. If you were in PetSmart looking at a new kibble, it's going to show up. So it's all of that type of thing. If you were on H&R Block looking to do your taxes, you were looking for a tax preparer, now they're going to show up. So it's for both products and services, because it is an incredibly, incredibly effective advertising choice. So targeted tools can put your ads in front of people who have already expressed an interest. So they're not a cold ad, it is a warm ad. And that means your chances of closing a sale are much increased. And that's why this is such an effective tool. So there's still more options. You have TikTok. TikTok is the newest craze platform. It's been around for a couple of years, and it has now established itself firmly, and it hits a similar demographic as Snapchat, but in my opinion, I'm seeing it grow farther and wider. It is not just kids. You have lots and lots of folks who are on there and who have a huge amount of followers. There is celebrity endorsement on there. There's a lot of business now taking place on TikTok. So it is the up and coming place to be. LinkedIn is great if you are advertising and you want to get in front of business people, because that's the professional platform. On the other side of the page, and sorry, I went from right to left there, you have YouTube. And so there's all kinds of advertising between videos on the roster of, the listing of videos to click into. There's lots of different options for YouTube advertising. Pinterest is incredibly visual. So much like much like Instagram, it's a very, very visual platform, and there's lots of good advertising. Their demographic tends to be females, married, with children, 30 plus. That's a great place to advertise if that's your demographic that you're seeking. In-game ads, if you play solitaire, if you play Candy Crush, if you play, I'm trying to think of some of the games my son plays, any of the online games, between every game round, there is an ad. And your business, whether product or service based, can advertise in those in-game ads. It is a very effective tool to reach different demographics in a space when they're in a very happy mood, they're playing, and they go, oh, that's interesting, and they click into it. So that can, a lot of times those in-game ads are for other games, but oftentimes they are for products and services. So the list really goes on. New platforms are emerging regularly, and as they rise to the cream of the crop, there's going to be new ways to advertise on those new platforms. So stay on the lookout of what is rising to the top. Additionally, when you are in specific industry specific types of websites, pages, things like that, you're going to see things that might speak specifically to your business. So if you are a B2B business where you're trying to do business with other businesses, in those industry spaces, you're going to find lots of advertising options that work really well for you. So with all of those options on the table and a limited budget, which one is right for you? So let's talk about choosing the right platforms. So it really, really comes down to knowing your customers and knowing who the potential customers for your business are. So understanding your customers and being flexible, meeting them where they live, that's what's critical. So for example, if you're targeting people who are in the business community, you want to go to LinkedIn. If your customers are young, super young, really in that under 30 set, you're looking at Instagram, TikTok, and Snapchat. Those are going to be the three platforms that are their playground. If you really are talking about geography, but anybody within that geography is where you want to reach, Facebook and Twitter are really going to be the strongest find for you. And if you want to come up in searches, either by keywords, so if you have a pet shop, it might be that your keyword is kibble or pets or anything that's really animal related. So that's a keyword. Or geofencing, which is by zip code, by area, by region, by state, things like that. Then Google is really your best bet. So geofencing, like I said, think of it this way. If you picture at your own home, the fence you have around your backyard, geofencing is a virtual fence around the bordered area that you can do business. So your ad is going to be shown within that virtual fence, within your geo fence. So our Mineola is 11501. So I took that one because it's the first town in Long Island along that train line. So if your company is located in 11501, you could put a geofence around anyone in that zip code. You could put a geofence around anyone in Port Washington, since that's where we're talking tonight. And you set the size of the fence based on your budget and the distance that you believe individuals will travel to come to your place of business. If you have a restaurant that serves something that there really is no competition for miles, you can set it that way. But if you have a business that there's kind of one per town, then your zip code is your geofence. Keywords, like I said, are specific words that people will type in to find a certain something that they have an interest in. So if a person types in pet groomer, it's going to show them businesses, articles, images, information related to having your pet groomed. The business piece of it, that's where you want to be. If that's what your business is. So if you're a dry cleaner, it may show you again articles on dry cleaning or ads for dry cleaners. It probably will show you things related to washing at home. So it's going to be all things related to that topic. And you want to be part of what comes up toward the top in terms of businesses for that particular keyword. At the very, very top, like I said, you will have paid ads, and below that are going to be the websites with the best SEO, the best search engine optimization. So either you're going to pay and be right at the top, or you're going to have great SEO and be right below that. Because the lower you go, think about when you've searched. How far down do you scroll before you say, I've either found what I'm looking for or I'm done looking, just because I don't want to look anymore. So if you sometimes click to the second page and you say, all right, I'd go to the second page, that's as far as you want to be. If you never click to the second page, then guess what? Lots of other people don't either, and you need to be on that first page, either by paying for it or making sure that your SEO is really great. And that's going to be based on the way you have your website set up, your social media, what you're putting out in terms of content, and how frequently you're putting it out. Because if your website is kind of stagnant, that's not going to help you with your search engine optimization. So you have social media marketing versus paid advertising. And what's the difference? So let's talk about that next. Okay, so marketing. Social media marketers focus on building a community, sharing content, engaging the audience. It's developing a relationship. It's, think of it as a first, second, and third date. It's getting that relationship going. Bloggers, content marketers, and so on, they maximize their efforts so that you can increase that organic search that we were just talking about. And they focus on metrics like traffic. How many people are they driving to your social media or driving to your website? And conversion, which is turning a prospect into a customer. So that's their focus. That's marketing. Advertising, here's the difference. Advertising specialists are focusing on different performance metrics. They're looking at the cost to turn any given individual into a customer. So, and they're looking at the return on their ad spend. That's the ROI, the return on investment for your advertising dollar. How many dollars does it take to turn a person into a customer? So since the two professional specialties have very, very different goals, marketers will sometimes view organic and paid as very, very separate things, very separate goals, separate focus, separate end game. Although the final result on any one of them is to build customers, but they get there from very different avenues. So how different are they? Three key ways that online advertising can help improve the performance of an organic marketing effort. So this is where they kind of blend together. So online advertising is designed to increase brand awareness. That is a marketing goal too. It's designed to give a better understanding of your audience because you're going to use the analytics that come along with all of this. All these platforms, by the way, they will provide you with analytics, and we'll be talking about that on another week's webinar, but you'll get analytics to determine how well you're doing. And the advertising, your online advertising, will tell you how well you understand your audience using those analytics. And the creation of better performing content, understanding what ad content is helping you achieve your goals and what ad content is not. So it helps you, all of those things then can translate into the organic efforts, your content marketing, your social media posts, all the things you're putting on your website. If you're sending out email newsletters, things like that, it's helping you to really define and create a better relationship with your customers and your prospects. So I titled this slide, Trial and Error May Be the Way. And I don't want that to sound cavalier because your dollars are very valuable. And I respect what anyone is able to spend, whether you have a $10 marketing or advertising budget or $10,000, and anywhere in the middle. But sometimes trying a combination of different channels is going to give you your best bet. It's a little bit of experimentation in a dollar amount that you can swing, that your business can afford, to see, this is working for me, this not so much. So is it, to play with it to see whether or not different types of ads are working on a given platform, or whether or not it's when they're at, hang on, I bounced. There we go. So it's trying different ads and trying them on different places and seeing what works where, so that you can massage them and really have a finely tuned advertising campaign that you're using online. But like I said before, monitoring the results is really critical. A shoot from the hip kind of mindset is going to hurt you financially, because you're just, without assessing, you're never going to really know what worked well, so that you can put more eggs into that basket, and what's not working for you and pull it out so you're not wasting money. You want to make sure that you are getting the most bang for your buck. So like I have here, monitor your results, continually hone your efforts, make adjustments to your strategy. And by doing that, you're going to create a plan for success. If you think about it, if you had a whatever kind of business you have, whether it's a deli and you're trying two different lines of deli meat to see which one is best, you're going to know shortly thereafter which one is selling better. And that's the one you want to carry more. Your customers like it better. If you were carrying clothing and certain, you were carrying things that were very conservative and that's selling, and you tried some things that were more wild in taste and they're not moving, that tells you that doesn't speak to your customer base. So you're going to hone and tweak and make sure that your product speaks to your customers. You have to do the same thing with your advertising. Make sure that you're reaching people with the right platforms and the right messaging. Set goals. Always, always, always set goals, because then you will know if you have achieved them, if you have surpassed them, or if you're just struggling to get anywhere in the ballpark. So the goal of any advertising strategy should be to get a positive return on that investment. You spent $100, you got X amount of new clients. That's great. Does that translate that 10 times? If you spent $1,000, you would get 10 times as many clients? No, you gradually work your way there and see how much that ROI is growing with it. Or perhaps that's your cap for that particular platform. But getting a positive return on your investment is the critical test. And in its simplest terms, it means getting more revenue out of an advertising campaign, any given advertising campaign, than you put into it, and seeing how much it costs to yield a customer. How many dollars did it take to yield a new customer? How many dollars did it take to yield 10, to yield 50, and so on. So budgeting. So planning for your budget for ongoing advertising in any format. If you were going for the local penny saver, if you were advertising on the local TV station, radio station, any kind of advertising you're doing, it's never one and done. Advertising is an ongoing effort. So it's going to be something you're going to need to do, and don't expect to be finished in a week and say, I advertised, I am finished. You need to give it time and massage your plan to be sure you're getting the best results. Cumulative trends and information are going to give you a better picture of your success. And like I said before, online advertising is not a quick fix. It is a strategy. It requires patience. It requires planning. And this way you have you have a long-term relationship with the advertising, and that it will then have a long-term relationship with your success. So in a way, having respect for what the advertising can do for your business is key. And if you have respect for it, you'll plan. Paying for online ads. So now let's talk about, before we talked about a couple of different ways. You have pay-per-click payments. Those are payments for ads that result in a charge to your budget because you've prepaid. So let's say, or you have in your account, you're gonna have $100 budget, for example. And when someone clicks, it's deducting, if it was, let's say, $2 per click, so now it's going to reduce what you have in your balance by $2. So you set that budget, whatever suits your business. You will then see your total depleting as customers click into the site. And if you start to run low, you'll get an email, you'll get a notification. It will tell you that your budget for the month has nearly run out. You have an option to stop. You have an option to add. You don't have to add the same amount. If you started with 100, you might say, you know what? I want a few dollars more in there, put another $25 in. Or you could say, I want to put another 100 in. This is going really well. So you have options there. Or if you have it preset for, let's say, $100 a month, you could say, I'm going to freeze. And on the first of the month, your 100 is reset. And now it can start again. Bidding. This is something we haven't talked about yet tonight. You can bid on the amount you are willing to spend. It's very similar to auction bidding. Some sites have an auction to place an ad for a limited amount of available space on their site. So if you bid $10 per click, the next highest bidder offers $6. You're going to win. However, you're not going to be charged $10. The second highest bid is going to determine the price. So the second highest bidder, we said bid $6, you're going to be charged $6.01, $6 and a penny per click. That's the lowest amount possible over the second bidder. I know it's a little convoluted, but that's the way the system does work. And as you go through it a couple of times, it becomes easier to figure it out. So if you bid $1 on something and somebody else bid 99 cents, you only won by a penny, so you're going to pay $1. But if the next highest bidder bids 75 cents, the penny over that, you're going to pay 76 cents for your ad. So bidding is another way to do it. When prices are going up, bidding becomes more expensive. Sometimes it's cheaper than the pay-per-click. And sometimes pay-per-click, because it's an established amount, they'll offer you a better rate. So you have to assess which way they're offering it and which one is going to do better things for you. So advertising online can cost a lot. It can cost a little. The amount of the spend is up to you. So if you're planning for this to be an ongoing effort, you want to calculate it across however many months a particular campaign might be. And you may also want to consider, if you're a retail operation, you may want more advertising in the fall during holiday season. If if you're a florist, then around Valentine's Day and Mother's Day, which are the two biggest days of the year for that, you're going to want a bigger ad spend then. So really you want to think about where your busiest times of the year are and plan that based on your high traffic. If you do have a business where it's really even keel across the year, then you can equitably balance out your ad spend across the year. Like anything else, your advertising, as you learn, there's a learning curve. So try a small budget. Think of it as, sticking your toe into the water and seeing the temperature of the water. Start slow, get your feet wet, get comfortable with the concepts, the different forms of payment, what your ad looks like as it's coming up on different feeds. Learn, and as you grow, you can dive a little bit deeper into it and build your strategy. And don't be discouraged. It takes a little time. There is an advertising statistic that says an individual needs to have 7 impressions before they recognize your business, before they recognize what your business does, and before they're willing to invest their dollars into your product or service. So that takes a little bit of time for someone to see your ad float through on their feed a handful of times before they go, looks interesting, and click into it. Maybe they follow your page. Maybe they decide, you know what, I'm going to look through your gallery and start shopping. Maybe they decide they're going to make a purchase. But part of it's baby steps for them as they get to know your business. It's baby steps for you as you build your strategy. And advertising, no matter what form you take, you may go online. You may also decide you want to advertise on a local radio station, in a local newspaper, on television, in a magazine. All of those advertising efforts take a little while for the customer to get to know you. So give potential customers an opportunity to to kind of get to know who you and your business are, and for them to get comfortable, and for you to get comfortable with all of what you're doing. But don't expect it to be, I advertised on Sunday and I should have 1 million new customers by Tuesday. It doesn't work that way. It's going to be a slow build towards success. And that's what I have to share for tonight. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to take them. And if you think of a question later, or you're not someone who likes to ask questions out loud, my contact information is here. My name is Tammy Severino. I'm Director of Development Marketing, the consultant over at La Fuerza CDC. My email and my phone are both here. I do try to respond within a day. So if you do have questions after today, please feel free to reach out to me. And thank you.